Welcome, dear friend, to Arkham Horror, the card game. This is the final scenario and the final episode of our Dunwich Legacy playthrough. I'm excited. I'm happy that we finally got here, not because I've had a bad time and I wanted to stop, but because this is my first full campaign and I want to see what a final mission, what a final scenario looks like. And I want to experience either, the ultimate winning or the ultimate losing. It's also the first... I have to admit, there is a small part of me that will be happy for this to be over for what you could say are negative reasons. I believe Rex to be too strong, even in my very, very inexperienced hands. I have a feeling that the way his clue getting, or the way his clue acquiring ramps up, does hurt the balance a little bit. And I understand that he's mutated, and I understand that he's not as powerful as he could be. Imagine if he was unmutated. It would just be... every mission, every scenario would be a cakewalk. Apart from that one with the dust and the broods, that would still be disgusting. So yeah, what I am excited for really is to try different classes and different investigators, and I already have two in mind. They should be quite interesting for Path to Carcosa, so I'm, really... I don't want to stop playing with Rex, because obviously... there's a part of me that wants to play with Rex Murphy forever and just win everything, but really I understand that does not make the funnest experience, especially on a blind playthrough. I think, you can only get that first play once. But anyway, enough meta-commentary, let's just play the game. Well, as usual, we have three things to do before playing the game. We have to recap, we have to do cards, and then we have to do theme. To recap, in the last scenario, we just investigators entered the gate. We very, very easily, it felt like, slew Seth Bishop, the sort of evil priest who was trying to summon some sort of evil one, but he did open a rift in the sky and we went through it. A rift from a tombstone, and we decided to go through it because what else are you going to do? No story assets added, nothing too interesting, so I won't waste any more time and let's look at some card upgrades. 3 experience was all we got from that last one. And this will be our final upgrade, so I'll give you a bit of a slower look at the decks after showing you the upgrades. On Zoe, because of our mental trauma, which takes her down to 5 sanity, that just feels terrifying, we've added a second Elder Sign amulet. Not necessarily so that we can play both, but so that we'll find one of them. And we removed, quite a predictable remove, this Delve Too Deep. There's no real point in getting more experience. I suppose there's a world in which you wanted to move the encounter deck on and Delve Too Deep would facilitate that, but obviously we're not. Obviously we don't know what we're doing. Would be interesting if there was a combo or an investigator that could make use of that. And on Rex, slightly more interesting, not just an amulet of some kind, but we do have, and on Rex, slightly more interesting, I would say. Again, added some kind of amulet on this guy. We got rid of Delve Too Deep, again, predictable. We got rid of our level 1 magnifying glass, upgraded it to a level 0, because why not? We're definitely not going to use its fast ability or its fast, what would you say, capability, because we don't have anything else to put in our hands, really. But it does just mean it's 1 resource cheaper. I thought, why not? We had 1 experience spare. The real upgrade, though, it's not interesting, is it? Is this Disc of Idzamna. Is a protective amulet, asset accessory, 3 cost, item relic. Has interesting commit icons, 1 head, 1 book, 1 fist. If you're wearing this as a reaction when a non-elite enemy spawns at your location, discard Disc of Idzamna, discard that enemy. I have no idea what to expect from the last scenario. I presume it's going to be difficult. That's why I've added this Elder Sign amulet on Zoe, imagining that we're going to take much more of a beating than we have so far. And we haven't really ever had to care about enemies spawning on Rex. But I wanted to, really make sure that Rex could hold his own. He can evade if he needs to, but if it's not evadable, we could just discard an enemy once. That's the way I'm thinking. Thus, Zoe's final deck is this. Not going to make too many comments about it. I'd quite like to do a retrospective deck video, sort of a bookend to the series from the deck building at the start. But I've enjoyed it. I think all these cards mostly have a place. I obviously love Stand Together. I love Drawn to the Flame. I think that's fantastic for Zoe because you hope to discover a monster out the encounter deck. I've had worse, haven't had a use for it yet. I hope to, though, because this is The potential swing that you could get from playing this card is phenomenal, I imagine. Now for Rex's final deck, just ridiculously strong, to be honest. That's the only thing to say about it. Higher education, we haven't used it as much as I thought we'd use it, but it is undeniably very powerful. You know, the deductions, the Dr. Milan Christopher, it's just a very feels-good deck. Definitely happy that I played it on my first campaign, but as I said, equally happy that I'll be moving away from it. Let's take you back to TTS and let's get reading and playing. Scenario 7. Lost in time and space. Passing through the gate is unlike anything you've ever experienced. You feel your body twisting and distorting, churning through realities as the gate pulls you to its ultimate destination, a place beyond the scope of human imagination. Suddenly, all is quiet, and the chaos of the journey is replaced with a sense of solitude and dread. You are in an unfathomable place, vast beyond your ability to reason and utterly alien besides. The landscape is surreal and strange, the architecture impossible. You are so far from home that home has become a threadbare dream you can barely recall. Even should you find your way out of this place, you may never be the same again. Harrowing. Continue to set up. Gather all the cards from the encounter sets. That will have been done for us. Put another dimension into play. Each investigator begins play in another dimension, unfettered by reality. What does it say? It's a 6-shroud location with 0 clues. Forced when a location leaves play, move each investigator and unengaged enemy at that location to another dimension. Cannot be cancelled. I see what's going on. Set the following cards aside. This will have been done for us. Shuffle the remainder of the encounter cards to form the encounter deck. It says locations in the encounter deck. This scenario includes several single-sided locations that are shuffled into the encounter deck, along with the rest of the gathered encounter sets. These locations only have a revealed side and have a revelation effect that puts them into play when drawn. When put into play, a single-sided location is put into play with its revealed side face up because it has no unrevealed side. Otherwise, it functions as a normal location in every other way. Does that mean we want to churn our encounter deck? That is ridiculous. Having just got rid of Delve Too Deeps and saying, wouldn't it be cool if if you wanted to churn the encounter deck and you could pull Delve Too Deeps? Wouldn't that be a fun little mechanic that you could make use of? This is just like when I got rid of Prepared for the Worst and then didn't draw a weapon on my first hand in Zoe for 4 turns in a previous scenario. Anyway, simple setup, surprisingly simple setup for a final scenario. I thought it might be more involved, but it says when the game is complete, therefore, we go forward. Let's have a look at the agenda and the act. Agenda 1A. All is one. Pathways of sound and colour extend for an eternity in all directions, dotted with impossible architecture and overgrown with alien wildlife. The lines between objects are jagged and shifting, and your skin feels as if it were inside out. Act 1A. Out of this world. Somehow you must find your way across this alien landscape in order to find the nexus that was described in old Whately's tome. There is a forced effect on the agenda. After you are moved to a location by an encounter card effect, take 1 horror. We'll need 4 doom to get to the next one. And we have an objective. We have a usable action on the act deck as well. Spend an action to discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. I see, so we're milling it that way. Choose a location discarded by this effect and resolve its revelation ability. 4 clues to move that on. We are ready to get going, I believe. Very, very into this. Shuffle, 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 and as usual, shuffle the encounter deck even more, even though we are 99.4% sure that we've shuffled it, but that's not 100%. Let's draw our opening hands. As usual, we get a weakness. Wow! Wow, oh wow! Both of our stand-togethers. Forget about that for a second. Let's discard Smite the Wicked and replace it and look at Rex's No weaknesses here. Look, that is... How many times has this happened? We drew internal injury to replace that. Let's get rid of that and let's draw our evidence. So, Zoe's initial hand before a mulligan is Dr. Henry Armitage. 2 stand-togethers on the first turn. Dr. Francis Morgan and an evidence. Rex's starting hand before a mulligan is Deduction, Disc of Itzamna, Holy Rosary, Shortcut. I've got a plan. Well, this is interesting. With Rex, if we are to keep Disc of Itzamna, then there's no point... If we are to keep Disc of Itzamna, we need to play it early and hope to use it early to discard an enemy and then throw a Holy Rosary in. Or should we just get rid of Disc of Itzamna and be happy that we have a +1 head on Rex to help him deal with potential willpower checks in the encounter deck? That's an interesting idea. I'll have a think about it while I'm talking. For Zoe, do we want to start with a Dr. Henry Armitage? Ooh, probably not, It is good economy, but I feel like, I've said this before, on Zoe, if you're drawing cards, you want to be keeping those cards to use them. You don't have the card draw to start milling them, which does mean that I potentially regret putting Dr. Henry Armitage, the head librarian, in with Zoe. I hadn't actually thought about the coming together of that. But there's another lesson learned. 2 stand-togethers, we might as well keep those. Yes, they're not assets that we can play, and it might be kind of counterintuitive to me that you're like, well, I should mulligan them for assets, but these draw more cards than they're worth. I know that's very obvious to anyone who's played card games before, but these are better than they're worth in a mulligan. So we'll definitely keep both of those. Dr. Francis Morgan, it's a +fist enemy. I don't see why we wouldn't keep him. Again, it's not a gun, but I'm not sure we can be too precious. Let's get rid of evidence, and let's get rid of Dr. Henry Armitage and redraw 2 cards. Those being a Guts and a Drawn to the Flame. Not bad, honestly. I don't see a problem with that. It does mean that we have to take a turn to, instead of setting up our asset board, just sort of set up our resource pools, but that's all right. Then on Rex, like I said, Deduction, Disc of Itzamna, Holy Rosary, and Shortcut, I've got a plan. Let's get rid of I've got a plan. We're generally looking for book-boosting assets. Dr. Milan Christopher, magnifying glasses. Maybe a Professor Warren Rice if we're feeling cheeky. Deduction. I guess we keep Deduction. We need to get clues. Interesting, though. I feel like our first port of call really is to spend actions discarding the encounter deck, which does actually mean we might just want cards that fortify us against bad things coming out of this encounter deck. And it seems like Disc of Itzamna might just be a waste of 3 experience, because I might just want to play a Holy Rosary straight away. Let's get rid of Deduction. Let's get rid of Shortcut. Now this is a really hard decision for me. Okay, strange decision. I've decided to, more as a learning opportunity, really keep both. And I believe to play the Disc of Itzamna first and then sort of almost look for an opportunity to use its reaction. I'm always seeing this like an action compression card, where we can spend 3 resources and an action when we're in a safe, what would you say, like in a safe environment on our setup turn, to potentially save a couple of actions down the line by, not needing to evade a high boot enemy that Zoe, for whatever reason, can't deal with. We're in... What are we in? This unfettered by reality, another dimension. It's not going to be mobsters or acolytes, is it? It's going to be primordial beings made out of ooze and ether or something, which you take a machete to that and see how useful it is. Let's keep both of these. It's a strange decision, another strange decision, but we do have these stand-togethers to provide us with almost a starting hand on Rex of 9 if we wanted it, which is kind of crazy. 3 more cards. Oh, we got a Carcosa, so let's get rid of that. 1 more card. Okay, water protection. It's a very defensive, it's a very, very defensive initial hand. So for Rex's final hand, we have Disc of Itzamna, Holy Rosary, of course, Quick Thinking, Guts, and a Ward of Protection. I have a feeling that Ward of Protection will come in very, very handy. Last but not least, because I've remembered for once, the Chaos Token reference bag. Skull is -1 for each extra dimensional location in play, max of -5. Cultist is reveal another token. If you fail after this skill test, discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a location is discarded. Put that location into play and move there, so you don't get a choice. And it does say something, what does it say up here? After you are moved to a location by an encounter card effect, take 1 horror. I wonder if they overlap. But it sounds like Cultist could almost be good for us to move the game forward. Tablet, -3. If Yog-Sothoth is in play, it attacks you after this skill test. Sounds horrible. An Elder Thing is a -X, X being the shroud value of your location. If you fail and your dimension is extra locational, if you fail and your location is extra dimensional, discard it. Don't have to worry about that, thankfully. Shuffle all the mulligan cards into our decks and play the game. Who goes first? So that we can get more cards to see, Zoe goes first. We use a stand together. 2 resources on each investigator. 2 cards on each investigator. We have drawn, we've drawn an unexpected courage on Zoe as well as a psychosis. Very unhappy about the psychosis. After you take 1 or more horror, take 1 direct damage. And on Rex, we drew a manual dexterity and a search for the truth. Kind of weird. I'd say we're really missing assets. Therefore, what do? We draw more cards. 2 resources on each investigator, 2 cards on each investigator. A beat cop, a guts on Zoe, a shortcut, and a guts on Rex. I don't know, it doesn't feel... I'm not feeling great about this, I have to say. That was Zoe's second action. Potentially means we have to throw a card away, which I really don't like the idea of. Anyway, for Zoe's final action, what to do? Do we spend an action to move the game on, or do we just set up? I believe we just set up. Let's play... Are there whippoorwills in here? I'm not going to look, but it would be nice to know, because then I would rather play a beat cop. Still no weapons, by the way. Let's use a beat cop. It feels like, as I've said before, it's a kind of pseudo-weapon, isn't it? So 4 resources takes us down to 5. It's our last action, and it is Rex's turn. Now, Rex will set up with Disc of Examiner, of course, for 3 resources. That's his first action. A bit of a no-brainer. Now what do? We are going to have to get rid of one of these cards, and that sucks. It's kind of a bit of a naff starting hand, actually, isn't it? No assets on Rex, no weapons on Zoe, and those are the kind of things that we're looking for. Even with the stand-togethers, how crazy. Let's spend an action to discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck and see if we can get moving. I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm not going to sit around and just wait to pull cards, especially with a full hand. That just seems ridiculous. We need a place, or we need a way to use these cards on skill tests, perhaps. So, an action, discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. Okay. Encounter Search Assistant, that's pretty cool. Choose a location discarded by this effect and resolve its revelation ability. The first one is Beyond the Veil. It's good that we didn't get that. The second one is Interstellar Traveler. Okay, we are going to look at this even though we've not technically drawn it. It's a 4/3/2 monster Yithian, and it spawns at any extra-dimensional location. Hunter, of course. Forced, when Interstellar Traveler enters a location, flip 1 clue on that location to its doom side and place it on Interstellar Traveler, or place 1 doom on Interstellar Traveler if there are no clues on that location. Too many words for me to take in, and I'm sure it's too many words for you to take in if you're just seeing this for the first time on my playthrough. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. It does 1 HP damage and 2 mental damage. No victory points. I know it doesn't really matter because there's no time to upgrade, but I would have liked to see something that's this strong. Is it this strong? The 2 sanity damage is a real bastard. I would have liked to see a victory point on there. You could almost say that it's the final scenario, so why not be as frivolous with the victory point allocation as you can be? No location, though, so the last is an offer of power. Nothing happens. We have not drawn a location. Do we really just draw again? Spend another action. Let's get discarding. Tear through space. Wow. Surge. We haven't drawn it, so Surge doesn't apply, right? Put Tear Through Space into play. Let's discard 2 more cards. Wow, we have another location. Conglomeration of Spheres. Okay, give me a second. Forget about Conglomeration of Spheres. We are choosing between these 2 locations. We either have a 4 shroud with 2 clues, or a 1 shroud with 1. I think I would rather the 4 shroud with 2 clues. Surely, even though we don't have any assets boosting Rex. But this one will cost 2 resources, this Endless Bridge. We don't really care about that. We're flush with cash. Let's choose the Endless Bridge. We need 4 clues to advance, and that will get us half the way there. Put it into play and lose 2 resources. Okay, fine. It says we don't go there, though. There's nothing that says we move there automatically, does it? No, but all it's going to do is add a doom onto itself at the end of this. When you leave it. Okay, so we clear it out, hopefully before the agenda deck moves on, and then we leave it and no one's the wiser. It's the end of our turn. The enemy phase. Thankfully, there are no enemies so far. Upkeep phase. Now shit, we've got to get rid of a card on Rex. We drew a Brother Xavier on Zoe. Happy to see that. It's not a weapon, but it's more willpower. Or more... Is it willpower? It's more head. And what are we going to discard on Zoe? We want to keep Holy Rosary, of course. A Quick Thinking is another action that feels too valuable. The Guts also feels so valuable for dealing with the encounter deck, as does the Ward of Protection. It's a choice between Manual Dexterity, or we got to keep Pathfinder, which is the card we drew from Upkeep, by the way. It's probably going to be a Manual Dexterity, I think. Manual Dexterity or Shortcut. You know what, let's get rid of a Shortcut. It is action compression, but I have a feeling that evading an enemy once will come in much handier than saving an action or moving, especially when we got Pathfinder. I know Shortcut can move... hang on a second. We had Shortcut... I was thinking about moving Zoe to this. We can move ourselves. Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, there's no new information that's been revealed. All that's happened is we've drawn... shit. We drew Pathfinder. That's new information, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to allow myself... I'm learning. We could have used this shortcut at the end of Rex's turn to move him to the Endless Bridge, and that's a completely valid thing to do. So instead of having to get rid of Shortcut, we play Shortcut. It's fast. Play during your turn, choose an investigator, move the investigator to a connecting location. Or I'm happy I've realized that. A little bit slow on the draw maybe, but I think that's fair. Our first Mythos phase, add a doom. Draw encounter cards. Let's just get going. Tear through space. Hang on. I was going to say I thought I might have stacked the deck accidentally, but no, there are just multiple tears through space. Well, Zoe could go here. That would give Zoe something to do on her turn. Why not? Just take a surge as well. Let's just put it into play. And then Zoe goes there, does the investigation. She's investigating 2 versus 1. What would that be? A 55% chance. It's not great. She could maybe throw an Unexpected Courage. She does have Drawn to the Flame. She could have come to the Endless Bridge. Anyway, I'm waffling. This isn't necessary. That was our encounter card. It has Surge. We draw another one. Beyond the Veil. This is fine on Zoe. Is that correct? We wouldn't want this on Rex, but this is okay on Zoe for now. And we kind of hope that Zoe draws the other Beyond the Veils. One of them's in the discard pile, thankfully. Also has Surge, so we reveal... What am I doing? Another encounter card. Ooh, Visions of Futures Past. We're testing 5 head. For each point you fail by, discard the top card of your deck. Well, this is a time to commit a Guts to be testing 7 versus 5. 6 versus 5, sorry. We can't commit another Guts. Not worth committing Drawn to the Flame or Brother Xavier, I don't think. If we discard 1 or 2 cards, that's alright. Or shall we use an Unexpected Courage? I think because we have this Beyond the Veil, we don't want to be discarding cards willy-nilly. I'm committing. We are testing 4 plus Guts plus Unexpected Courage, 8 versus 5. Let's see what happens. An Elder Sign. Well, we didn't need to do all that. We succeed. Anyway, we're on 10 and 12, by the way. We succeed and we draw a card, which is Emergency Aid. It's not ideal, it's not what you choose, but we pass with flying colours, Visions of Futures Past. This one didn't have a surge, correct? Didn't, yeah, that's right. Rex's turn. Tear through space. Again. I mean, it doesn't cost us anything, so let's just put it into play. And we can move there from other locations, so Zoe could sweep across and get both, perhaps. It does have surge, so we just draw another one. A Wormhole. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a location is discarded. Resolve that location's Revelation ability, then move to that location. Okay, shit. Let me think about this. Bollocks. After Investigator leaves Endless Bridge, either place one doom on Endless Bridge or discard it. So that shortcut was a waste. Well, we would have had to get rid of something anyway, so... Alright, let's do it. We discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a location is revealed. Collapsing Reality is not a location. Tear Through Space is a location. Let's put it over here, and everyone can just move everywhere. Makes sense, because we're in a dimension that doesn't, adhere to our normal understanding of physics and reality and space and time. Okay, resolve that location's revelation ability, then move to that location. Okay. Definitely a time to get down Pathfinder before we do anything else, I think. After you are moved to a location by an encounter card effect, take 1 horror. I believe we do have to just take that on our hero. Or on our, what would you say, I know they're investigators, but what, our avatar? I don't know. I understand what is happening. A fine mythos phase. Very, very glad we didn't draw any enemies because Zoe is not in a place to deal with them. Whose turn to take first? Let's do what we said we were going to do. Play our Pathfinder on Rex and take Rex's turn first. Don't think it really matters who goes first. So Rex spends 3 resources to play Pathfinder. He now gets to move once per turn for free. Very, very strong. Oh, of course, I left Endless Bridge, didn't I? So I will place a doom on it. We investigate once in Tear Through Space. Let's just do that. There's nothing else to even play. This is such a weird hand for Rex. We're testing 4. Only 4. How often have we said that? 4 versus 1. Let's see what happens. Well... It's a -5. Takes us down to a 0 versus 1. Therefore we fail. Wow, that sucks. We test again. What? Okay. Alright. We fail. 4 versus 1 does not do anything for us. We lose both rolls. That's pretty bad luck, I would say. I should have committed a quick thinking just to get actions back. That's my bad. That's all our actions on Rex. That is a pathetic showing, I must say. Now on Zoe, we would like to be moving to a Tear Through Space, getting the clue there, and then moving to the other Tear Through Space. Is it worth using an action to spend to play Brother Xavier? Probably. Let's move to Zoe. Move Zoe Samaras to Tear Through Space. 1 action. She tests 2 versus 1. That is pathetic. I'm sure we don't use Drawn to the Flame here. It doesn't feel like a worthwhile usage. 2 to 1, let's... I can't test 2 to 1, can I? Let's do it. 2 to 1. 0. Alright, a little bit of luck went our way after this shocking, absolutely shocking display by Rex Murphy. That was our 2nd action. Now for our 3rd action. More clues is always better, I feel. We want to get out of Tear Through Space, because we don't want to put a doom on it. We'd like to discard it. So for our last action, we move to this Tear Through Space. Weird turns, very weird turns, and it doesn't feel... We didn't even use our Pathfinder to start moving. In fact, you know what? No new information has been revealed. We use that Pathfinder. We leave Tear Through Space. It's going to come back around in the encounter deck. We don't mind. We've already got 4 clues on the board. Why be precious about this one, I suppose? Let's keep things moving. The point of that is I really don't like this doom in Endless Bridge, and I would like to deal with the doom on the coming turn and then move out of the location and discard the card with the doom on it and, kind of gain time back from the clock, in essence. Zoe could move there anyway and get the clue herself, perhaps. Everyone's go is finished. Enemies. No enemies. Upkeep phase. A 45 automatic on Zoe, there's our weapon. I see here, by the way, that the 45 automatic is a level 0. Is that on all level 0 cards? Oh, I thought there was some indication that there was an upgraded 45 automatic somewhere. I imagine there is, but I'm intrigued as to what it does. We drew 45 automatic on Zoe and a Seeking Answer. Ooh! Seeking Answers on Rex is sick. That is a very, very useful card at the moment. Alright, Mythos phase, add a doom. We're in the witching hour, technically, unless we deal with these locations. At the end of the round, either place 1 doom on Tear Through Space. Oh, we would have had to discard it, otherwise this would have moved the agenda deck on. Let's just... Tricky Very, very tricky. No, we don't want to move this agenda deck on, do we? Is it worth keeping around the one clue to not move the agenda deck on? I would say probably not. So let's say we discarded Tear Through Space. We got rid of it. If there was any investigators or enemies on it, they would have moved back to another dimension, but that's not the case. Oh, we also discard this Tear Through Space. Of course, we don't discard. I'm messing up. Okay, this is just a lack of understanding from me. Let's bring this Tear Through Space back. The other one was fine to discard. This Tear Through Space would have got a Doom on it. And this Tear Through Space would have got a Doom on it before we click this Doom counter up. So in fact, the agenda deck does move on this turn and there's nothing we can do about it. Alright, let's do it. The agenda deck switches over. We spend at least all of these Dooms. Spend in a way we get rid of. Agenda 1B. Familiar Echoes. Nothing to read yet. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Then discard cards from the top until a location is discarded. The lead investigator resolves that location's revelation effect. This I can do. Dimensional Doorway. Is this a location? It is a location. It looks like a flower of some kind or something you'd see in a coral reef. It's a two-shroud location with 2 clues on it. Revelation, put Dimensional Doorway into play. Then draw the topmost hex card in the encounter discard pile. Right. Let's do things slowly. Put it into play. The lead investigator resolves that location's revelation effect. That is Zoe. Zoe draws the topmost hex card. In the discard pile, though, there's nothing in the discard pile, so nothing happens. Correct? Forced at the end of your turn, if you are at Dimensional Doorway, you must either spend 2 resources or shuffle it into the encounter deck. Right. I understand. So we've got to go there and probably get out in the same turn. That's the aim, at least. We do have some reading now because we check the campaign log. If the investigators fail to save the students, read the following. We failed to save the students, so on a technicality, we don't have to read the next bit. Ha ha. A huge canine creature, alien to your eyes and yet familiar, appears before you. The creature rushes forward and you prepare to fend it off, but to your surprise it runs through you towards a building that wasn't behind you moments before. Derby Hall from the Miskatonic University. The creature bursts through the building's front door and you hear screams of panic from inside, followed by the crunch of snapping bones and cries of pain. Each investigator takes 1 horror regardless of their location. Let's chuck 1 on Beat Cop for Zoe and take 1 directly for Rex. Now this is interesting. When you're playing extracurricular activity, you assume the little epilogue note about there being a wild beast that got into the dorms. I assumed that was the experiment. I thought that was the university's PR team saying that it wasn't our fault. It was an act of God. It was a wild animal. But it seems like some kind of eldritch, otherworldly wolf went into there through a dimensional tear of some kind. Sick stuff. I like that. I like the little callback. Oh, and a psychosis. We take a direct damage. Ooh. Need to get rid of this soon. Agenda 2A. Past, present, and future. As you cross this realm, you catch occasional glimpses of reality, scenes from old memories, more recent visions from the past few days, and sometimes even events that you do not remember ever happening. Forced, after you've moved to a location by an encounter card effect, take 1 horror, same as last time. 4 doom to move this on. Nothing immediately more awful happens than the last one. Which I like, which we're happy with. To draw our encounter cards. Ooh. Oh, we have to shuffle. Oh, we have to shuffle an asset we control into our deck. Pushed into the beyond with Zoe. Is this a time to potentially use a ward of protection? We would have to take 2 horror if we failed this. If there's another beat cop, on the top 3 cards of our deck, we are effectively shagged. I actually think, as strange as it might seem, we use this ward of protection. Well, no, we can't use that. It's just ours. It's just when we draw our treachery cards. Well, all right, we deal with this. We have to discard the beat cop. Maybe we should have taken both horror on him, but we can't do that now. We shuffle the beat cop into my deck and discard the top 3 cards of your deck. So it's a beat cop that goes away first. Then we shuffle. Then we draw 1. Okay. If a copy of that asset is discarded, we take 1 horror. Well, it was. So what do? Take 2 horror. And then take a direct damage because of psychosis. Fuck off. That's horrible. And we also have to discard 2 more, so drawn to the flame, and I've had worse. This is horrible. This isn't the fun final scenario that I thought it would be. Absolutely disgusting. All right, well, what can you do? What can you do? It's this. The game is the way it goes. Rex has drawn Endless Bridge. We can put it into play and lose 2 resources. At this point, we kind of want our resources on Rex. To be honest. Oh, okay, let's put it into play. I don't know how few and far between the clues are going to be. That's all I'm thinking. We lose 2 resources. Okay. Is it Surge? It is not Surge. Okay, weird stuff. I'm not happy. I definitely feel unhappy with the way things have gone. What I need to definitely do is discard this fucking psychosis. Get out of here. It takes 2 actions. It just needs to be done. I'm not seeing any enemies. I know there was that Yithian, what's it called? The Yithian Traveller. That's the only one I can think of. So is it worth spending an action to use this 45 automatic? Or would we rather shore up our willpower with Brother Xavier? That's the question. We discard. Do we discard psychosis? We have a lot of HP soak with Dr. Francis Morgan. Maybe we just keep it forever? We're going to die from the horror before we die from psychosis, right? So, okay, executive decision time. Brother Xavier gets played. He costs 5. I really need to shore up willpower. What if there's a rotting remains in here? Or those, the omen for death? All the whippoorwills on the trees. That's our first action, and we get a boost on our willpower. That's going to be really useful. Then I do think we spend an action to investigate tear through space. So let's do it. We're testing 2 versus 1, which is just atrocious. 0. Look, when it works, it works. Second action. Then for our third action, we move the hell away from this. And of course, we could go to Endless Bridge and use our Drawn to the Flame there to get clues. Do we have to immediately advance for Out of This World? We don't. We can choose when we do it. All right, that's Zoe's turn finished. Still have this nasty psychosis lingering around, but I think that was the correct decision. It means this tear through space sticks around and doesn't get a doom added to it. Do we need to add a doom to this one? Or did all that mythos stuff happen on this last mythos round? It did, didn't it? It did, didn't it? I think. Shit. I don't know, and it's too convoluted to go back and check. I'd get more confused than I am now. This is it's a good representation of being in this another dimension unfettered by reality, because I don't have a fucking clue what is going on right now. Investigation, phase 4, Rex. Well, he has no assets to play again, which is just bizarre, I feel. We want to be succeeding by 2. There's no real way to be boosting it. We're 4 versus 4 currently, and that's just not good enough. We have loads of cards. Is it time to throw a Search for the Truth here? Or a Seeking Answers? Seeking Answers is only 1 book, though. Well, what I will say is if we use a Seeking Answers, we would only have to succeed the test, not succeed by 2, to get, 2 clues from this location. It's tricky. It's crazy. I think we use a Search for the Truth. I think we need to get clues and move the game on. Zoe is just, she's going to be under the cosh really fast unless things start happening. Generally, the act deck is good things happening, right? But in this final scenario, maybe not. Search for the truth, let's do it. Otherwise it's just going to sit in our hand for God knows how long. 4 versus 4, plus 3 from search for the truth, 7 versus 4. That means really this is the time to commit a quick thinking to take us to 8 versus 4, hoping that we succeed by 2 or more. We'd like anything better than a -2. 8 versus 4, it still doesn't seem that great, you know. We're going to do it. 8 versus 4, what's the worst that could happen? Oh. Okay. Well, we're 8 versus 4. We succeed at least. I should have spent for higher education, shouldn't I? Quick thinking, we don't get any bonus from it, nor do we get Rex's seeker reaction because we didn't over-succeed. We succeed at least, it's one clue. Let's just be happy with the victories that we do get, and it takes us an action. We test again. This time it's just a 4 versus 4. But that's awful. We spend a resource, or, now this is interesting, we either spend 1 resource to play Seeking Answers, or, oh God, was I supposed to discard this as well, or did we do that on Zoe's turn? No, that was all on Zoe's turn. Right, there's a lot going on in this little brain of mine. We only have 1 resource ready. Either we could get a boost of 2 on higher education, or we could get a boost of 1, but if we succeeded, we could get rid of this tear through space. We don't want to end up in Dimensional Doorway. I don't think we mind this tear through space living. I believe we spend that resource. We spend the resource to, what would you say, invoke higher education, meaning we're testing 6 versus 4 without seeking answers, and I think that's what we do. Oh, man. It's just not going our way. It's just not going our way. We fail. Minus the hands. If we lose this, I guess it doesn't really matter the investigators get swallowed up into the vortex of nothingness, but it would be a damn shame. Or it might just be Arkham. It might be how the game should be. Is there any point testing? There's actually just not. There's no point testing on a 27%. That's just a waste of a turn. All right. We sit here and we gain a resource. I can't believe I've done that. And then next turn we set up Seeking Answers. And, I don't know, maybe a ward of protection. Actually, instead of a resource, we should draw a card. I mean, that's nice. I'm not going to say we deserved it, but that's nice. Alright, everyone's go is done. Any enemies? There are none. Upkeep phase. Another 45 automatic on Zoe, and a cryptic research on Rex. Now, it's interesting because we might not want to mill cards too readily on Zoe because of Beyond the Veil, but good to have nonetheless. Mythos phase. Now, stuff happens, doesn't it, at the end of the round? This tear through space gets discarded. This endless bridge, nothing happens. This tear through space gets a doom on it. Nothing happens in all the other locations, correct? Correct. We add a doom from the Mythos phase, and we hope we don't draw 2 ancient evils, basically. Ooh. Oh! We spawn it in another dimension. Oh, God. All right. Sorry, I just kind of froze. Yithian Star Seeker. 3/4/5. Monster Yithian. You spawn it in another dimension. It has Retaliate. It retaliates with 2 HP damage and 1 sanity, by the way. When Yithian Star Seeker attacks an investigator with more than 10 cards in his or her discard pile, place 1 doom on Yithian Star Seeker. I see. It does seem like Zoe, with her 45 automatic, will just be able to take down an interdimensional eldritch being with 2 bullets, by the look of it. I guess that's a gameplay abstraction. On Rex, we draw Beyond the Veil. Shit. Rex is going to get through this deck, man. I can just feel it. This is a time for Ward of Protection. I am positive. It costs us 1 resource, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm positive this is a Ward of Protection time. Rex is going to get through this deck. I can just feel it in my bones. I cannot deal with Beyond the Veil. I just can't. We do take 1 horror, though, because of this Ward of Protection. Beyond the Veil just gets discarded. Has to be done. It had Surge anyway. We'd be discarding another card. Yithian Observer. Right. 4/4/3. Monster Yithian. Prey. Fewest cards in hand. Doesn't matter. Spawns on Rex. When Yithian Observer attacks you, discard one card at random from your hand. If you cannot, well, I could, it deals 1 damage, +1 damage, and +1 horror for this attack. Awooga, and it has 1 HP and 1 sanity damage to it. Well, how's this going to work? Do we discard Discovit Zamna? You know what? We don't care about victory points. We do not care about victory points. Let's just do it, man. It spawns at my location, discard Discovit Zamna and discard that enemy. We're just going to do it. It's going to slow us down. We do have a manual dexterity, but let's save it for something really, really important. And that means we can play, when we get some cash, of course, we can play that Holy Rosary to shore us up against the encounter deck. Right, happy about that. Not a bad Mythos phase at all. Does mean that Zoe has to get this 45 automatic into play, but she doesn't have the money for it quite yet. I worry that moving the Act deck on might put everyone back in another dimension, then we'd have to deal with Yithian Starseeker. Therefore, I think for this turn, we focus more on getting clues from these peripheral locations, I guess you could say, and then... Is it right that we can't move back to the central location? Oh my god, we can't. Once we're at Endless Bridges, we can only move to the dimensional doorway or this tear through space. God, that's interesting. Interesting, and it hurts my brain. What is going on? Basically, we don't want to end our turn in this dimensional doorway. We could end our turn in the Endless Bridge, that would be absolutely fine. But if we stay in the Endless Bridge and we throw away Tear Through Space, it's going to have a doom on it, then we can't get back to the central location. Right. Let me just slow down. I need to investigate Endless Bridge with a perception. It's a card draw and it means we succeed automatically. Now, would it have been good to use a cryptic research there, or do we save that for Zoe, sorry? Honestly, I think we save it for Zoe. We're testing 6 versus 4, which doesn't feel great, but we're going to do it. We are getting shagged. Man, we are getting shagged by the decks. Luckily, Yog-Sothoth isn't in play, so he doesn't attack us. This is dog, man. This is horrible. Just not having those assets in play, and now even if we draw them, we don't have the money to play them. Christ, how's this happened? All right, we drudge on. Really, we need to investigate this. 4 versus 4, that's zeros. I think we just leave. I think we just leave this. We don't have the money to play a Seeking Answers. This is... Oh, let's just leave Endless Bridge. I'm done with it. We exhaust Pathfinder to move to the Tear Through Space. Now, this Endless Bridge gets discarded, even though it had a clue still left on it, and we just have to accept that loss. It's pissing me off. The 4 Shroud location is pissing Rex off. He's not happy about it. Should be a very simple investigate on this one. 4 versus 1. Let's do it. That's crazy. Is that not insane? Is that not absolutely disgusting? And if we don't get out, that's another action, by the way. If we don't leave, that is just horrible. If we don't leave this Tear Through Space on this turn, it's going to get another Doom stacked onto it, which means we'll move the agenda deck on way too early. So sod that. For our last action, tail between our legs, we move over to Zoe's Endless Bridge and discard Tear Through Space at the end of the round. Let's actually just do that now, so I don't forget, because there's already enough to keep track of. Rex's turn is over, and it was shit. It was awful. What was the point of that? On Zoe's turn, she gets a resource. Maybe she discards Psychosis. It's kind of annoying. Maybe we just deal with it. We gain a resource, right? And then we play 45 automatic. Doesn't feel like a very efficient use of time to gain that resource, but I think it's really important. Maybe this Yithian Starseeker comes after us or something. I don't know this turn. And then with that last action, we can't use Drawn to the Flame. We just can't. It's not going to happen. Because what if we draw an enemy and then it just gets free attacks on us? It's horrible. It's all horrible. Let's draw a card. This is dog. A machete. Right, great. Okay, enemy turn. There are enemies. They don't do anything, though. It's not a hunter, thankfully. The upkeep phase. We've drawn another machete on Zoe. It's not what we wanted to see. And an inquiring mind on Rex. It's not an asset. It is not an asset. The Mythos phase, we add a Doom to the Doom counter, 2 out of 4. Draw encounter cards. An offer of power. Oh my god. You must either draw 2 cards and place 2 Doom on the current agenda, or take 2 horror. Well, I can't add the Doom, that's just ridiculous. It might be more horror, so let's take a Doom on ourselves. No, sorry, let's take a Doom on ourselves? I wasn't even correct. 2 horror on Brother Xavier. At least we can do that. The card draw might have been nice, but we just cannot risk the Doom, I believe. Right, Rex's turn. Vast Expanse. If there are no extra-dimensional terrors in play, locations in play, extra-dimensional, well there are. Vast Expanse gains Surge. Okay, it doesn't gain Surge. Otherwise, test Head. Where X is the number of extra-dimensional locations in play, max 5, so there are 2. We're testing 3 versus 2. I don't like that. I don't want to take the horror. Let's use a Guts. At least we can redraw. 5 versus 2. Okay. We take 2 horror. That is just... Alright, it's gross, but it's the way of the game. That's the Mythos phase over. Investigation. Zoe does now shoot. No, sorry, does now play Drawn to the Flame, I think. I think I'm going to have to think about this off screen. Or off mic, rather, just take some time. Okay, what I'm going to do. The problem, I'll tell you what I was thinking. The idea is, if we clear out Endless Bridge, we then have to go somewhere, right? We'd be adding a Doom. If we went to Dimensional Doorway, that'd be dreadful because at the end of the turn, neither of us can spend the resources, so we'd both have to... Dimensional Doorway would get shuffled back into the encounter deck, thus taking us to another dimension against our will, thus triggering this agenda deck forced horror thing, which means Zoe would already be on 4 out of 6, which is just, again, horrible. And we'd have the Yithian Starseeker engaged on us, and it would be attacking quite strongly against people that just don't want to soak it up. What we do here, I believe, is we use an Inquiring Mind on Rex. Now that means we're testing 7 versus 4. And if we fail this, honestly, there's a chance that I quit. Oh my... It's fine. It's fine. It's you know, that's the way of the game. That's how it goes sometimes. That was an action, and that was our Inquiring Mind spent as well. Let's use Cryptic Research and get some cards. That's our second action. Wow. How many cards? 3 cards. I don't really want to draw stuff on Zoe. We're kind of set up. Let's just draw cards on Rex. Pathfinder. I've got a plan, Dr. Milan Christopher. Then for our final action, God, man, this just feels so awful. We use a Seeking Answers. Is this really what we're going to do? So it's, we use a Seeking Answers. It takes up a resource. No, that's not right. That can't be right. I feel very defeated. I do, I must admit. For our last action, let's just discard 3 cards and see what comes out of the encounter deck. That's probably the best idea. Visions of Futures Past. Visions of Futures Past. Terror from Beyond. What a waste. Okay, on to Zoe's turn. To get clues, Zoe plays Drawn to the Flame. We draw the top card of our encounter deck, then discover 2 clues, so the encounter deck first. Steps of Yahagal. Yahagal. Otherworld extra-dimensional. I love the artwork. It's a 3-shroud location and there are 2 clues on it. Put it into play. Then draw the topmost Madness card in your discard pile. I see. It's not connected to anything. Are there any Madness cards in here? I don't think so. Good job we didn't get rid of Psychosis, eh? It had come straight back out. When we are here, by the way, there's a forced effect. When you would leave Steps of Yahagal, test 2 head. If you fail, shuffle it back into the encounter deck instead of moving to your original destination. That means we could just get thrown back to another dimension, thus triggering the agenda and kind of just doing general bad stuff. Can't get there anyway, though. Nicely enough, we get those 2 clues. Should I move the act deck on this turn? I feel quite... what's the word? I feel quite devil-may-care at the moment. I am not feeling confident about this scenario, so I'm kind of just treating this all as like a learning opportunity. I've never played this scenario before. How could we deck tech against this absolute onslaught? Mostly it's been auto-fails, so perhaps there isn't a way to deck tech. It's been auto-fails and bad luck on the card draw, really. But you could say, I kept Holy Rosary and Disc of Itzamna, didn't I? So, I've messed up 2 of my potential mulligans there, I don't know. But we got those 2 stand together and we still got absolute drivel. Okay, I'm waffling. Let's leave. That was our first action on this turn, right? Let's leave the clue on Rex. Let's spend the clues on Zoe to move the act deck on. I don't know if this is going to be a good act deck. Act 1B, the Nexus of Dimensions. A light shimmers in the distance, and you head toward it to investigate. The wispy light drifts away from you, floating through the realm's strange gateways, ascending looping staircases, and crossing through barriers you dared not cross earlier. With little chance of finding the Nexus on your own, you follow the light, hoping it is guiding you in the right direction. Put the set-aside edge of the universe location into play. Completely terrifying. Let's put it over in the bottom right corner for some aura. Act 2A, Into the Beyond. You continue to follow the wisp of light, though the treacherous landscape makes it a difficult quarry to chase. It has the same action and discard kind of ability as the last one, but there's a new objective here. If an investigator enters the edge of the universe, advance. I should think so. What awaits us in the edge of the universe? That's the question. You must have at least 2 clues in order to move to the edge of the universe. Shit. More investigations to be done without any investigation-boosting assets. Blow me. Well, I think what has become obvious is that we really need to spend resources to get Dr. Milan out of here. Interestingly enough, it's not like we have had the opportunity to play book-boosting assets and, not taken it. We just simply haven't drawn them, which is kind of wild if you think about it on Rex with all his book-boosting assets in this deck. Anyway, Zoe has... Did it cost us to move the act deck on? Let me just check. It didn't, so she still has her second... She still has 2 actions left, is what I'm trying to say. It would be great to get Dr. Francis Morgan out. He costs 3. Is it completely ridiculous to sit here and gain resources with these last 2 actions? I think it actually might be quite valid. Let's do it. 2 resources will be on 4 next turn, then we can play Dr. Francis Morgan. The problem is, again, I don't want to end my turn in Dimensional Doorway, but it's the only place that we can move to, so I'd really kind of like to reveal another location first. Some way to get to Steps of Yahagal. It doesn't say, by the way, that you need to spend these clues. It just says that you need to have at least 2 clues. So, once we have accumulated them, we might be good to go, so to say. Okay, hate it. Hate this game, hate this scenario. I'm enjoying it, but I wish I was winning more, I guess. The upkeep phase, we drew a Dr. Henry Armitage on Zoe and another. That's ironic, isn't it? It's like buses. When you need one, it never comes, and then, when one comes, 2 come. Dr. Milan Christopher again. Dr. Henry Armitage on Zoe as well, by the way. It might be kind of nice for resources, actually. We wouldn't care too much about discarding a card that we drew. We've kind of got our core assets out there. Anyway, Mythos phase, we're on 3 out of 4, and we draw encounter cards, 1 on Zoe. Vast Expanse. If there are no well, we know there are. Test head. X is the number of extra-dimensional locations in play. Well, this one here, 2, 3. At least Edge of the Universe isn't, so we're testing versus 3. Because of Brother Xavier, thankfully, we're on 5 head. I cannot be doing with failing this. Let's commit a guts to it. It's got to be done. 5 head means that we are on 7 head now, so 7 versus 2. 7 versus 3, actually. What am I supposed to do? What am I actually supposed to do here? Auto-fail, so we just take 3 horror. Is that right? 1 on Brother Xavier. He dies. 2 on Zoe. She's almost dead. We took 1 or more horror, so we take a direct damage. If we didn't have Brother Xavier to soak up that last that last sanity, we would have just been wiped out. Is that right? Is that fair? And we didn't succeed, so we don't get the card draw from Guts. I'm been treated very, very brutally, this scenario. Encounter card on Rex. Offer of power, you must either draw 2 cards and place 2 Doom on the current agenda, or take 2 horror. We take... The problem is, if I take the Doom and move it on, we're going to take horror that we can't absorb on Zoe, and Zoe will just die. Therefore, we have to take the 2 horror damage on Rex, right? Okay, we do it. Investigation phase. This is crazy. This is not going how I wanted it to go at all. We need to draw cards because we need to find an Elder Sign amulet. That's the only important thing we need to do. So we draw. It's a perception. We draw. It's a rite of seeking. Okay. You know what? That's all. Is rite of seeking what we want? I don't know. If Zoe's going to go into the Edge of the Universe, she needs clues somehow. But then if we play Rite of Seeking, we don't have resources for Elder Sign Amulet next turn. I think it might be better to play a Dr. Francis Morgan not Dr. Francis Morgan. Might be better to play a Dr. Henry Armitage for 2. That's all of our actions used up. And then when we draw cards, we can just we should have done that first, shouldn't we? I can't go back because there's new information drawn. I don't know, this isn't going particularly well. On Rex, what do you even do? Just sit here and get 2 resources and then play a Dr. Milan Christopher. This is horrible. This has really not gone well. 4 resources spent. We are now cleared out on Rex, and that was another kind of whiff of a turn, I think. Enemy phase, nothing happens. Upkeep phase, we have drawn. Prepared for the worst. Alright, so what is cool? We can discard Prepare for the Worst and exhaust Dr. Henry Armitage and gain 3 resources at least. We drew an Inquiring Mind on Rex. That is nice, but obviously doesn't protect us against auto-fails, as we have learned. Mythos phase, we add a Doom to the Doom counter. Does Zoe just die here? We can assign 1 horror to Dr. Henry Armitage. Let's see. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Then discard cards from the top until a location is discarded. Right. This I can do, but it does mean that Beyond the Veil is now in this encounter deck again. Wormhole, that's not a location. Endless Bridge is. We put it down. We resolve it on our lead investigator, which is 2 resources. And that's the end of that. We then check the campaign log if at least 1 name is recorded under Sacrifice to Yog-Sothoth. But it's only 1 name. It's only 1. Read the following. Agenda 2B. The Price of Failure. You hear a familiar voice calling out to you, and you enter an impossibly shaped building of cracked stone. No! Don't! The voice cries. You rush towards the voice down a set of steep, narrow stairs. Upon reaching the bottom, you find yourself in the hidden chamber from Dunwich. Bound by shackles, you see those you failed to save, bloodied and maimed. A creature with a man's face feeds from a corpse on the ground. The head of the corpse turns to face you, and a sharp pain stabs your heart. Each investigator tests one head, because we lost one character to Yog-Sothoth. For each point an investigator fails by, that investigator takes 1 damage. Okay. 4 head versus a 1 head test. -3, we don't take any damage on Zoe. Good stuff. On Rex, it's 3 head. We don't care about taking damage. We've got a lot to soak up. We're already on 7 horror. God, I'm bad at this game. 0. We don't take any damage. Okay, things are looking up, lads. Things are looking up. Agenda 3A. Breaking through. Throughout this warped dimension, no matter where you travel, there is a haunting shape in the distance. At first it appears as a disk, like a black moon with many wriggling arms. But as time passes, you can tell it is growing larger and larger. Forced, after you move to a location by an encounter card effect, take 1 horror, yes. 6 doom to move this on. Okay, it's our go again. What to do, what to do. We can only get to the Endless Bridge, by the way, through Dimensional Doorway. Don't know if we saw that. What do we want to draw on Zoe? What are we waiting for? Zoe could, honestly, Rite of Seeking might not be the worst thing in the world to play. We need to get it into Edge of the Universe, so why not? Why not? Let's do it. Let's do it. I feel quite, what's the word? You know, I said earlier, what did I say? Throw care to the wind, or no, devil may care attitude. I feel like I should throw caution to the wind. We're not going to win this scenario. We're against an extra-dimensional being, and we've almost died just from moving around the area. Let's play Rite of Seeking. Oh, we should remove this Doom too. Let's play Rite of Seeking for 4 cards. For 4 cards. For 4 resources. That's our first action. Then we... Honestly, do we just stay here and draw until we get an Elder Sign Amulet? Because otherwise we are shagged. God, I actually think we have to do that. Let's do it. Okay, Manual Dexterity. We discard that for... Oh, we can't because Henry Armitage is exhausted. Oh! Oh! Everything's awful. Everything's awful and I'm sad. Smite the wicked. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until an enemy is discarded. Okay, Yithian Starseeker. Spawn it at the location farthest from you. Location farthest from you is it's this Steps of Yahagal for sure. Okay, let's send you there then. We know what he does. We've seen him before. Well, it's not him, is it? What is it? Some sort of snake beast. And attach Smite the Wicked to it. Well, at least we don't care about the mental trauma because this is the last scenario. Okay, and then for our... What did we play? We played Rite of Seeking. We drew Manual Dexterity. Then we drew Smite the Wicked. Our turn is over. This is pants, man. This is going so badly. On Rex Murphy, what do we want to do? I guess move into Dimensional Doorway. We can only get to the edge of the universe from Dimensional Doorway so far. We only have to shuffle it back in if we stay there at the end of the term. So you know, what about, this is crazy, man. The 7 horror is just absolutely despicable. We pathfind, right? We exhaust this. This is obviously insane. We need to get these resources. That's what we're hoping for. Is that right? Yeah, because there's 2 here on Endless Bridge that we will go to with Zoe. Or rather, let me think about this. There should be a Doom put on this Endless Bridge, by the way, because we left it. I think we send Rex to this Endless Bridge. So let's think about the actions here. We have 3 left. We move once to Endless Bridge. Yeah. Okay, we move once to Endless Bridge. That's an action. We now investigate versus 4, throwing a Dr. Milan Christopher at it, 5, and an Inquiring Mind. I just feel like I have to. 8 versus 4. It's really important that we succeed. 8 versus 4. I actually can't believe it. What is going on? That is ridiculous. Okay, that's our second action. For our last action, we try to investigate again, because that's all we can do. 5 versus 4. Okay. -1. Hey, look. A win is a win. A win is a win. A single clue for Rex. But Dr. Milan Christopher gets exhausted and he gains a resource. That's all of our turns. Sorry, that's all of our actions spent. All right. Is what it is. Enemy phase, none of them do anything. They don't hunt us, do they? Because they smite the wicked. No. Upkeep. We've drawn a vicious blow on Zoe and a Professor Warren Rice on Rex. Potentially happy with that. Mythos phase, Doom added. Encounter cards. Oh my fucking god. Choose and shuffle a non-story asset you control into your deck and discard the top 3 cards of your deck. Well, it's going to be the 45 automatic. Because I know that we're not going to come across our second copy. It's in our hand. Of course, we could get rid of Henry Armitage as well, but he's our quite a good way of a good economy. I should say. Hey, perhaps I should have discarded Vicious Blow for money. Something to consider. But we didn't know that we were going to have to discard the 45 automatic, so it'd be cheating to go back. All right. Pushed into the beyond, we shuffle. Oh, it couldn't be Dr. Henry Armitage because he is a story asset. Anyway, whatever. We shuffle this back into our deck. Ooh, shall we do that? Shuffle. Discard the top 3 cards of our encounter deck. We've only got 12 cards left, by the way, and we have a Beyond the Veil. So this is shit. Unexpected Courage. There's one of our Elder Sign amulets, man, and there is our other brother Xavier. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. Rex's encounter is an interstellar traveler. Spawn at any extra-dimensional location. It's a hunter, so it is going to come towards us. When Interstellar Traveler enters a location, you flip 1 clue on that location to its doom side and place it on Interstellar Traveler. Well, let's just send this to where Zoe is. Let's spawn it at this location, the Endless Bridge, and have it just go straight into Zoe's threat area. This doom needs to... Why isn't it letting me move this doom? Oh, here we go. That goes back onto Endless Bridge. So there aren't any clues at this location at the moment, therefore we add a doom onto it, another one. We need to deal with it pronto. The nice thing is, though, we get a resource. Hey! And we will whack away at this. Oh my god, we don't have a weapon out! This is fucking dreadful. Why is everything so bad? We don't have a weapon out, therefore it's going to take us 3 goes. Okay, we definitely don't spawn Interstellar Traveler here. Let's spawn it at... Oh, shit, I don't know. Steps of Yahagal, I guess. Flip one of those to a doom. Oh, God, man. And remove that doom that we added. Take the bonus resource off Zoe. In fact, can we spawn it? No, it has to spawn at an extra-dimensional one. Okay, whatever. I say whatever when I'm really sad. Rex plays... Was that Rex's? No, that was Rex's. Let's put this back into the encounter deck. Sorry. Shuffle. I promise I'm not cheating. Investigation phase. Now, what on earth do we do here? Well, we want to leave this Endless Bridge. There's nothing to do here. And then we want to move into Dimensional Doorway with 1. I'm going to get these clues, and then I'm going to go to the edge of the universe. So that the Endless Bridge gets discarded because we left it. That's 1 action. So he doesn't even have a weapon out and she wants to go to the edge of the universe. That's fucking hilarious. We play this Rite of Seeking. We're testing 4 versus 2. We're okay with that. Anything better than a -2, 66% chance. I don't love that, actually. But what are we going to commit? Nothing. We don't have anything. Let's do it. 6 versus 4. 4 versus 2, -1 at least is a success. Okay. Zoe can, with her final action, move into the edge of the universe. Let's do it. Caution to the wind. Okay. Things happen. We flip edge of the universe. They cannot draw cards during the upkeep phase. That actually might be kind of a good thing, to be honest, because we're stopping ourselves from getting up to Beyond the Veil. That is a good thing. That is a wholly good thing. Although we don't get to use our economy with Dr. Henry Armitage. Anyway, Zoe's turn is finished. We used a supply from Rite of Seeking. I feel quite beaten down. I feel quite unexuberant, I guess. And we have to advance this as well, the Act deck. Is Yog-Sothoth here? Act 2B, The World's Edge. You reach an impossibly dense, pitch-black void and realize that this place is where all of reality, all that is and all that ever will be, ends. In its center you see a minuscule rift, suspended just out of reach. When you peer through the tear, you're surprised to see the peak of Sentinel Hill. Somehow you've reached the other side of the rift. Now you must find a way to close it for good. Act 3A. Close the rift. The unearthly stones on the ground are inscribed with some sort of seal. Approaching them causes a voice to enter your mind, speaking in an alien tongue. Okay, 6 clues to move this on. There's the same kind of discarding to get location effect. Only investigators at the edge of the universe may spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance. Rex would have to get here to help out. He has 2 clues on him. There are 4 clues in Edge of the Universe. We would have enough to move that on if we cleared out the Edge of the Universe too. It's only a 2-shroud location. Alright, suddenly, it's feeling manageable, unless we have to defeat Yog-Sothoth. I'm hoping that we might get some kind of, like an investigation victory or something, I don't know. You know, like with Silas Bishop, where we can either hack him to death with a machete, or we can just look around the hidden chamber for some clues and win that way. It does mean that Rex's turn, I wonder if there are clues underneath this act deck. That's what I'm kind of worried about. There's only 1 left in Endless Bridge, by the way. Is it worth staying around for that? Potentially not. So we move. I'm gonna rush this, right? We move with a Pathfinder. Do we put a Doom on Endless Bridge or do we discard it? Let's discard it. I'm over it. I'm over the Endless Bridge. We then move with an action to the Edge of the Universe. Then we investigate Edge of the Universe, or actually we pull out a Warren Rice or a Seeking Answers. Now we play a Warren Rice to get the boost to skill icons, to the investigate skill icons. Costs us 3 resources, takes us down to 0, and we have 1 action left. We then test versus 2, us having 6 at the moment, but can we commit anything? Tell you what, let's commit a perception from Zoe. That means we're testing 8 versus 2. 8 versus 2, there's no point. Oh, because we want to succeed by 2. Okay, there is a point. 8 versus 2, we roll. -3, 5 versus 2. It was good, we committed perception. 5 versus 2, what happens? We get 2 clues from the Edge of the Universe. That's one thing that happens. Exhaust Dr. Milan. Fine. And then draw a card on Zoe. It is physical training. Let's get rid of physical training, exhaust Dr. Henry Armitage, and get some resources. Then what? On our last action, spend and the act deck. Move the act deck on. Ooh, so we just have to resign. But how do we resign? Remove the Edge of the Universe from the game. Put the set aside, tear through time location into play. Shit. Does that count as being forced to move by an encounter card effect? I'm not sure. Okay, let's just do things slowly. We've spent the clues. Act 3B. Mending the tear. You are utterly exhausted, with no idea as to what can be done to close the rift. It is too distant to touch, and nothing you do has any effect. There is nothing here to guide you apart from the unearthly words that is seeping into your mind. Just then you hear a familiar voice within the echoing chorus and feel yourself compelled to repeat it. Cloud Ostium. You whisper at first, the words on the tip of your tongue. You close your eyes to concentrate and the echo grows louder. When it ends and you open your eyes, You face nothing but an inky abyss, and the tear has vanished. Remove the edge of the universe from the game. That means we jump back to here, I guess. Put the set aside, tear through time? Tear through time location into play. We can get there from... How do we get there? We're going to have to draw through the encounter decks again. And I should have kept that last endless bridge. Shouldn't I? Oh, crap. Okay, the edge of the universe gets discarded. Right, let's do things slowly. Edge of the universe gets discarded. Both our investigators move back to another dimension. Thus, the Star Seeker engages someone, and it's going to have to engage Rex. I'm not taking the chance of it having, engaging Zoe and taking that horror damage. Although it's one horror. Let me think. Yeah, we can assign the one horror to Dr. Milan. Is it best that it goes on Rex? But it does 2 HP damage. That we can soak. And then we put the horror on Dr. Milan. Okay, good enough. And then on Zoe's turn, she plays a weapon and whacks away Yithian Starseeker, I guess. It's the end of our turns. It is the enemy phase. All right. This enemy attacks. It does 2 HP damage. Can't assign any of that. But we can assign 1 to Professor Warren Rice. And then let's assign... Why did I take that? We should assign... Oh yeah, I see. 1 HP to Warren Rice. And 1 to us, and then 1 sanity damage also to Warren Rice, because why not? Hunter, though, this interstellar traveler moves 1 towards us. When it enters a location, flip 1 clue on that location to its doom side. There aren't any on the tear through time, thankfully, but it will come and engage us next turn. God, this is really rather scary. The upkeep phase. Well, hang on. Oh no, that's the Yithian Star. I'm getting very confused. The upkeep phase, thank God, we have drawn our Elder Sign Amulet. That is crazy. We need to play this as soon as possible. Really, really important. And we've got a deduction on Rex. Probably useless at this point, but you can't be too ungrateful. We add a Doom to the Doom counter. We start drawing encounter cards. Only 8 cards away from certain death on Zoe, by the way. Vast Expanse. Fuck. Extra dimensional. There are only 2 extra dimensional locations in play. We're testing head versus 2. Is there anything I can throw at it? Let's throw a guts from Rex at it. Hopefully that won't shag Rex on his turn. But we can still assign horrors to Professor Warren Rice, so we should be alright. Okay. We're testing 6 versus 2. And that will just have to be good enough, I think. Oh, thank God, it's a skull. That's just -2. We draw a card on Rex, which is nice because of the guts. And finally, there you are, you slippery little bastard, magnifying glass. Thankfully, the Vast Expanse goes without too much effect. Now, onto Rex's encounter card. Ooh, Terror from Beyond. Okay, now let's think. Choose one of the following card types, obviously asset, event, or skill, and then we discard it. We're not discarding assets, because that's the Elder Sign Amulet. We can look at Rex's hand. I kind of think we want this Holy Rosary out as well. Let's discard skills. Kind of feel like we're less likely to need skills where we're going. Is that right? Discarding skills would mean that we can't evade this Yithian Starseeker, which is fine. By the way, I'm looking at... Oh, shit, I looked at Zoe's hand to look at the Elder Sign ability. Sorry, the Elder Sign Amulet. I was thinking that next turn we need to play the Elder Sign Amulet, therefore we won't have enough resources to play our weapons. So this Yithian Starseeker would need to be killed or would need to be helped along, possibly with an I've got a plan, something that I need to be aware of. Could we get rid of events? An event isn't I've got a plan, so... No, probably not. Let's get rid of skills. Deduction goes, as does manual dexterity. Now, shit. What's in Zoe's hand? Manual dexterity goes. Oh, my vicious blow goes. Okay. Well, here's how it is. Could have been something much worse. Let's say that at least. Okay, it's our go again. Bearing in mind, this interstellar traveler is going to move into our location and attack one of us. We can choose who it attacks. We'll probably say it's Rex Murphy, but that means we cannot afford to take any more. Well, if we have an Elder Sign amulet, we could afford to take some damage on Zoe. Some sanity damage. Right, there are things going on. We need to play Elder Sign amulet. That is very, very important. Correct? Correct. We play it first. It costs only 2 resources. Wow. That is a very, very efficient asset there. And it gives us... Why I put it in my discard pile? I'm so used to getting beaten down this time, I just threw it into my discard pile. That gives us another 4 sanity, what would you say, ceiling or a cushion, I guess. All we are trying to do is get to tear through time. We need to get there through something else. We need to be drawing encounter cards out of the encounter deck to find locations. But more importantly, at another dimension, we have Yithian Starseeker, which we would like to deal with. If we play a machete, we'd only do 1 damage to Yithian Starseeker because it's not engaged with us. That feels kind of rubbish. What I am going to do... It has retaliate. It could whack away on us quite easily, but only 3 fist. We'd also get 1 doom placed on it every time it attacks us. This is so nasty. We actually have a lot of sanity cushion now, so I'm slightly less scared. We equip our machete. Costs us 3. We play that. That's our second action. For our third action, we hit the Yithian Starseeker once, and I know it's rubbish, and I know that we don't get the extra damage, but that's what we're going to do, because then, actually, I've got a plan, could kill Yithian Starseeker in 1 shot, interestingly enough. Tell you what we do, we say with our last action, we draw a resource. I don't want to draw cards because we only have 8 left. It feels like it could potentially be very scary. We get a resource, and then hopefully next turn we perhaps could play Dr. Francis Morgan for a fist boost. Should I be doing that? Next turn is really about finding a location and getting to tear through time. Is that feels correct? Now Rex's go. Rex is oh shit. Any action other than fight, evade, or a parley or resign, each enemy engaged with you makes an attack of opportunity. Okay, so the Yithian Starseeker is going to get a shot on us. Unfortunately, that is unavoidable. The thing is, we need to get this last resource to then spend on... I've got a plan to kill Yithian Starseeker. Okay, we get the resource. We take an attack of opportunity, 2 HP damage, we can soak a lot of that, and 1 sanity damage, we can soak less of that, but 1 goes on Dr. Milan Christopher at least. And then we add a doom to it because we definitely have more than 10 cards in our discard pile. How has this happened? We have fewer cards on Zoe than we have left on Rex. Everything's all topsy-turvy in the extra-dimensional dimensions. Then for our action we spend 3 resources and play I've Got a Plan. This attack uses Book. You deal +1 damage for this attack for each clue you have. I have 4. Shit, should I have spent them? Did I need to spend them on something? Oh, we don't have any clues. Because I needed to spend them to what was it? Oh, sorry, take the top one. Flip this over. Yeah, there were 6 clues that we needed to spend. We don't have any clues left. It's horrible. It's horrible. So there's no point. All right, take that back. 3 resources. Flip. Take the sanity off Dr. Milan. Take the 2 HP damage off Rex. Remove the doom from Yithian Starseeker and put I've Got a Plan back into our deck. Even though it's going to be useless because we don't have any cards. Okay, take the turn again. Take Rex's go again. Well, he can't really evade Yithian Starseeker because we're testing 3 versus 5. Oh my god, it's so bad. We're just going to have to waste a turn. In fact, what we could do is throw a Pathfinder at it for a +1, then throw Seeking Answers at least, that's +2, +3 in total. And can we give anything from Zoe? Maybe our 45 automatic. We're +3 at the moment, so that's 6 versus 5. Let's throw a 45 automatic at it to make it 7 versus 5, which still doesn't feel great. It's a 66% chance. Emergency aid? Let's do it. 8 versus 5. A skull! We succeed, we pass. See, look, I'm so happy about just simply evading an enemy. How ridiculous is that? Yithian Starseeker gets evaded. That is actually a really big deal. Then for our final 2 actions, we get into play our Holy Rosary for 2, flipping over an action. We could play a magnifying glass. Really, though, we should spend an action to draw encounter cards and hope we get a location. Visions of Future Past. Conglomeration of Spheres. Interstellar Traveller. Well, we didn't. What can you do? As I'll go over enemy phase, this Interstellar Traveller, because it's a hunter of course, moves into our location and engages Zoe, because Zoe can soak the disgusting horror damage that it's going to do to us. There aren't any clues on our location, thus we have to add a doom to our location instead. Zoe gets a resource. Hurrah! Okay, and because it wasn't exhausted, it moves onto us and it attacks us instantly. 1 health damage goes on Dr. Henry Armitage. 2 sanity damage, 1 goes on Dr. Henry Armitage, and 1 goes on the Elder Sign amulet, which I'm really happy about. And then because we took 1 or more horror, we take 1 direct damage on Zoe, and it does count. I've looked at this before. Taking 1 or more horror means your whole board takes 1 or more horror. We've definitely taken 1 or more horror, so we do definitely take 1 direct damage, even though no horror went on to our actual investigator. Thankfully, because she would have died if it had have. The upkeep phase, we draw a 45 automatic on Zoe. We get rid of the 45 automatic on Zoe, exhaust Dr. Henry Armitage, and get some gold, get some coins. We drew Earl Sawyer, finally, on Rex, for a bit of evasion, possibly. Okay. Doom, 5 out of 6. Not liking the look at that. Encounter cards. A tear through space. Just put it into play. We can go there, but we can't go to tear through time afterwards. Oh, please let me just move. Please let me just move to where I can go to win the game, please. And it gains a surge as well. So it doesn't gain a surge. Oh, my. Oh, shit, man. I don't know. I think that's the end. I think we're truly fucked. This Yithian Starseeker, by the way, who does that engage? Rex, I guess. It readied up on our location. The conglomeration of spheres. It spawns, we drew it, it spawns on us, what can you do? Meaning now our machete won't do the extra damage that we needed it to do. Oh, God. Nightmare stuff. Encounter card on Rex. Visions of Futures Past. Testing 5 head. For each point you fail by, discard the top card of your deck. We can't commit anything, we're just testing 4 because of the Holy Rosary versus 5. It's not looking good already. Reveal another token. Okay, and knowing that we drew Cultist. +1. Okay, we don't actually have to discard any cards, that's good. What was the Cultist? It was if you fail, discard cards until a location is discarded. I almost would have liked to fail. Isn't that crazy? And I wasn't allowed to. Or I wasn't able to. Okay, the investigation phase. Well, this is shit, isn't it? I just have to attack Interstellar Traveller 3 times with my turn. 3 times, that's it. There's no way we're evading Conglomeration of Spheres with 2 boot, obviously. Do we take the aggro on Conglomeration of Spheres with Rex? Potentially. I actually think that is the way we do this, yeah. Yithian Starseeker, yeah, okay. We can soak a bit of damage with this Holy Rosary. 1 more on Professor Warren Rice. We can even soak it on Dr. Milan Christopher to get rid of him. And if we draw cards, we can use Higher Education. Alright, that's what we're going to do. For Rex's turn, he draws aggro, Conglomeration of Spheres, preparing that he's going to take 3 HP damage and 2 horror damage on the next turn, which is kind of terrifying. He can't do anything, otherwise he takes attacks of opportunity. So it feels a little silly, could be said. Running away from Yithian Starseeker is just such an insurmountable idea. Man, I feel so stuck. But I do feel like things have been quite out of my control this time round, at least. I don't feel like I've done anything wildly wrong, even though it's blind and I didn't know what was coming. All we can do is, what? Fight, evade, or activate parley or resign. So let's try and evade the conglomeration of spheres, hoping for a +1. It's just to make us, sort of allow us to live to fight another day, really. Ideally, I would like to save Earl Sawyer to evade next turn so that I can move. I don't see how I get out of this. Let's try it. We're testing 3 versus 4. See what happens. Whoa! +2. Okay. We can choose to fail this instead to draw 3 cards. What is left in the deck? Is there anything that we want? Are there any boot icons, basically? There would be an acidic ichor that we could use to fight these things, but we take attacks of opportunity. This is shit. Alright, we evade conglomeration of spheres. We're very, very thankful for the Elder Sign, it has to be said. We succeed. That is our second action. And then we might as well just try to evade the Yithian Starseeker again, really. Could be said that we want to tear through space. I kind of want to get away from another dimension. I want to get away from these, because if we can go through anywhere, it's going to be tear through space, probably. As in, it's more likely that a location spawns that we can connect to tear through space, which then connects to tear through time. I want to throw Earl Sawyer at evading this Yithian Starseeker, but that can't be right. It's 5 boot. That is just disgusting. Do we pass our turn? No, we want to draw another Elder Sign token, I think. Auto fell. Well, there you go. We don't evade Yithian Starseeker. Okay, Zoe's turn. Zoe hits Interstellar Traveler twice, hoping to do enough damage to kill it outright. We're testing 5. We don't have Francis Morgan in it, so we're just testing 5. 5 versus 4. It just feels not good. Throw Machete at it. 6 versus 4. Why not? -5. There you go. We fail our first attack. Let's test 5 versus 4 again. And we fail again. Let's test 5 versus 4 again. And we fail again. What can you do? What can you do? Enemy phase. We take HP damage. We then take some sanity damage, 2 more. We then also take another direct damage because we took some sanity. We took some horror. That's that enemy done. Then the one on Rex. I'm having such a bad time. Takes 2 HP damage. Then also has to soak up a sanity somewhere on Professor Warren Rice. Okay. Upkeep phase. We draw a vicious blow on Zoe. At least that's good for killing this Interstellar Traveler. And an I've got a plan on Rex, which is just completely useless because we have no clues. Good to know, good to know. Doom. Where is he? Where's he gone? The conglomeration of spheres engages. Well, actually, it could engage either investigator, but we wanted to engage Rex because we need to kill this Interstellar Traveler with the vicious blow and the machete combo. I kind of think Rex might die, which is odd, isn't it? Because he was doing so well. Let's draw cards. Did I add a Doom? Oh, I did because we're over the threshold. Okay, let's flip it. Oh my god. The key and the gate. Spawn the set-aside Yog-Sothoth enemy at the edge of the universe. You're like, well, that's fine. We're not at the edge of the universe. If the edge of the universe is not in play, spawn it at another dimension instead. Advance to Agenda 4A. Right. Where is he? There you are, you big bastard. What are you? 4 and 4, the lurker behind the threshold, beyond the threshold. 4 and 4, cracking. Should be able to deal with him in 2 hits with Zoe. Ancient One Elite, Massive Hunter Retaliate. He gets plus 6 health per investigator, that's plus 12. He's on 16 health. Cannot be evaded. At least he can't make attacks of opportunity. When Yog-Sothoth attacks you, instead of taking up to X horror, you may discard the top X cards of your deck. Then if you have no cards in your deck, you're driven insane. 1 HP damage and 5 sanity, by the way. Okay, I understand. Agenda 4A. The end of all things. The shape in the distance smashes through the barriers of this dimension, its many arms reaching to envelop everything you see. Its body is like an ooze, covered in eyes and mouths. You feel insignificant, like a bug, next to the creature's terrifying grandeur. If Yog-Sothoth is defeated, go to Resolution 3. Well, I don't think that's going to be happening, do you? And there's 2 doomed to move it on. Well, encounter cards. Yithian Observer. Rex's encounter card is Collapsing Reality. If you're at an extra-dimensional location, discard it and take 1 damage. We're not. Otherwise, take 2 damage. Okay. Onto our investigation phase. We can't even kill interdimensional traveler now because it's not the only it's not the only enemy engaged with us. Right. We're not evading, so whatever we do, we're taking enemies with us. This is shit, man. We got no chance. Well, I'll try until the bitter end. With Zoe, we try to take down Interstellar Traveler. We're testing versus 4. We have 5, because it's machete. We throw a vicious blow at it to take it to 7 versus 4. We then also chuck, and I've got a plan at it, to 8 versus 4. And then I've got to plan another one, why not, to 9 versus 4. Anything but an auto fail is a success. 9 versus 4, let's go. -2, alright. And we over-succeeded, therefore we do plus 2 damage, which does mean we do kill Interstellar Traveler. Oh, we get a resource from this engagement. Happy days. That was an action. Then for our second action, well, actually, we could kill Yithian Observer. We're 5 versus 4. I could commit Dr. Francis Morgan. 5 versus 4. Fuck it, man. What's the worst that can happen? Ooh, each extra-dimensional location. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's a fail. Does it retaliate? No, at least. Test again. Throw in Dr. Morgan at it. 5 versus 4. 7 versus 4. It's pretty important that we kill this. Alright, 0. Oh, I wish I could take back Francis Morgan. 2 HP damage on the Yithian Observer. Zoe's turn finished. What a waste. Is it going to kill us next turn? Potentially. For Rex's turn, what are you going to do? What even can you do? Try and evade Yithian Starseeker? Try and evade Conglomeration of Spheres? Let's try and evade Conglomeration of Spheres with Earl Sawyer. We're testing 5 versus 4, and I can't believe that we're just relying on that. Well, that's a fail. Test again. 3 versus 4. What else can we do? -5, that's obviously not a success. I have an idea. For our final, we're gonna die at the end of this turn anyway. We're just gonna get whacked. Well, we're gonna take 2 horror damage and 3. Yeah, we're gonna die from the HP damage. Well, we can mitigate 1 by each of our allies. We're gonna take 3. Yeah, we'd die. So what I'm gonna do with Rex is spend an action to reveal cards from the encounter deck, and we're just going to try Hail Mary with Zoe. Reveal 1, Terror from Beyond. Reveal 2, Tear through Space. Choose a location discarded by this effect. So I could choose, if there's another location on the next turn, we could go there instead. Ooh! We put it into play. I'd rather have a Prismatic Cascade. Also, we want to discard this Tear through Space, potentially. This Tear through Space gets discarded. That's not the one I want to choose to go to. This Tear through Space, at the end of last turn, at the end of the round, we could have put a Doom on it and it was the Witching Hour, and then the Doom would have gone off it. That's fine. Prismatic Cascade. It is a 2 and 3 location. Put Prismatic Cascade into play and discard a random card from your hand. Well, I didn't have one. And after the last clue on Prismatic Cascade is removed, you discard Prismatic Cascade. It doesn't look like it goes to... Now, are you seeing what I'm seeing? This is how to do this. Let's put it down here. Yog-Sothoth is at this location as well. I kind of forgot about that. So we need to run away. Oh, so he's just going to get shagged next turn anyway. Well, we'll play it to the bitter end. We could move to Prismatic Cascade and then move to Steps of Yog-Yahagal and then to Tear Through Time to win. That's our win condition. I don't think it's going to happen. What do you think? Enemy phase. Who attacks us? The Yithian Observer does. Who can take the sanity damage for us? The Elder Sign Amulet. Okay. We then take a direct damage because we took some horror. And we still have a damage to take from this guy. We got to put it on Dr. Henry Armitage, I'm afraid. I think. No. We leave Dr. Henry Armitage and we take the damage ourselves. We have one more. We have one more of a health cushion here. Oh. When the Observer attacks you, discard one card at random from your hand. Well, I don't have one. If you cannot, it deals +1 damage and +1 horror for this attack. There was one of each on Dr. Henry Armitage, so he now takes both of them and dies. He took both of them. If he takes both of them, then we only took... Yeah, we still have 1 HP left. Conglomeration of Spheres attacks Rex, doing 1 sanity damage and 1 HP damage. The HP damage going on Dr. Milan Christopher, who actually should also take the sanity damage at the same time. I believe you can do that. Yithian Starseeker. It attacks us, doing 2 HP damage. We kill Professor Warren Rice, taking the HP damage on him and also taking a sanity damage on him. And then I think you can see where this is going. We have to take 1 HP damage somewhere, and it has to be on Rex, and he has to die. Both of our investigators are dead and we lose, unfortunately. What resolution is that? Go to page 120. Is that right? Or is there a resolution that we get for dying? Yeah, we go to 120. Let's see what happens. Where did you come from? Why are you here? Are you dreaming? Or is this place real? Now that you think about it, haven't you been here before? Or perhaps you've been here all along. Now you remember. This is your real home. The path you now walk is but one ledge with many more below. You only have to fall, and you will be where you belong. One more step. Each defeated investigator is killed. If no resolution was reached, and the investigators were at Act 1, 2, or 3, go to page 128, but we were at Act 4. No. Yes, we were at Act 4. We go to page 124. Several of the villagers from Dunwich heard the ruckus on Sentinel Hill and went to investigate. What they found there answered none of their questions. What do you think happened? A frightened Curtis Whiteley asks as they examine the hilltop. The other villagers shake their heads, unable to say. Last thing I saw, the sky opened up and there was a bright flash, one of them says, looking up at the starry sky from the top of Sentinel Hill. Those Arkham fellas ain't nowhere to be seen, Curtis adds, looking down at the cracked stone altar. Not even a hint of 'em. Mr. Bishop and his pals, now, that's a different story. The young man motions towards several corpses on the ground. Think we should get a hold of those coppers out of Aylesbury? Why, so they can laugh at us again, Curtis spits. They ain't never going to believe us about all this anyway. He glances at the stone altar, fidgeting nervously. Better to forget about the whole thing. Come on, let's bury the dead and get out of here. The investigators win the campaign, that's a surprise, and are never seen or heard from again. Check the campaign log. What did I do with the townsfolk? I think I warned them. I did. Go to page 148. 148? Epilogue. Jenny knelt closer to the ground to examine the sign in the dirt. The shape of the sign was foreign to her, and the tracks that had led to it were unlike any she'd ever seen. Coupled with the report from the university, she wasn't sure what to think. "Miss Beauregard," her assistant called out to her, "have you found something?" Jenny stood and turned to face the freshman who'd been assigned to her. He was a good kid and a bit callow, but a hard worker and eager to prove himself. "This place was supposed to be cordoned off," Jenny responded. "Nobody's lived here for months, and yet, see for yourself, their primitive rites continue to this day." The student approached and joined Jenny in examining the sign, flipping through the pages of his journal to reference its symbols. "What do you think it means?" he asked. She shook her head. Outsiders rarely travelled to Dunwich, and all the signposts leading to the village had been taken down. But these days, even the townsfolk who had called this place home had abandoned it. "I don't know," Jenny admitted. "But somebody is here, and this isn't the first sign we've seen like this. Stories say there's an altar where the townsfolk would conduct pagan rituals atop that hill. Maybe we'll find more up there." The end. Now, who is this? Who is Jenny, and do we get to explore more of this? Well, we technically won. It doesn't feel like we won, I have to say, but we technically have won. Everyone died, but that was good enough. We satisfied, I don't know, what did we do? We satisfied Yog-Sothoth's bloodthirstiness, or he's not really bloodthirsty. We went to his house, defend the castle doctrine or whatever. We satisfied something, and the rift got killed. It didn't say that the world got swallowed up into the rift anyway, so I assume something happened with closing the rift. Anyway, gang, that is the end of the Dunwich Legacy campaign, and I really enjoyed it. I'll have a look at these design notes in my own time, but it's all fascinating, and I'm really glad to have finished a campaign and to kind of use this as my testing ground, my foundation. I think I rushed certain bits, and I've learned lots about the rules just in playing this. I'm really, really excited to make decks that don't include a Seeker. And on Path to Carcosa, I'll give you a bit of a hint here, we are going to be playing with Mystic and Survivor classes. And as you well know, or as you probably know, I'm only using investigators that were released in the cycles that we are playing, which gives you a pretty strong idea of the investigators that we're choosing. But anyway, I will see you then in either the deck building episode for Path to Carcosa or a short little informal chat of a retrospective of how I found the whole campaign and how I found piloting the decks. Arrivederci. Is Arrivederci goodbye? Arrivederci is probably arrive well, so travel safe. Yeah, that's right. Travel safe.